In this website audit session, I am chatting with Melissa Braga about her website. She has a problem that a lot of us small business owners experience at one point in time. She started her business, put up a website, and now, a few years later, her website no longer represents the services that she currently offers or the messaging that she's really been able to dial in on. So, together, we're going to chat about her website and how she can go about simplifying things. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Welcome to this website audit session with Melissa Braga, who owns New Being Wellness. She helps women who are exhausted, struggling with gut issues, or feeling ignored by traditional medicine finally get answers and take control of their health without another just take the pill approach. I love this. Welcome, Melissa. I'm excited to have you here. Why don't you start with, tell me what a website that is working for you would look like.
Yeah, so a website that's working for me would be something with clarity that people are attracted to. It really hones into what they're looking for. It speaks to them, and that I am their person. So they get to know a little bit about me, but it's more about them and what they're looking for. And they're like, okay, this is the person I want to work with. This is easy to do. Like, just really clear on the messaging and getting people to come and get to know me and speak to me on how I can assist them and bring them to where they want to be in their health.
Okay, that sounds a lot like getting the right messaging and then having the appropriate client journey to get them to where you want to take them to the first step in your process. Is there anything that is hindering or any like roadblocks right now that are preventing you from getting this done?
So I think when I first started and I put the website going on, I, had I didn't have a niche per se. I had that mentality that I want to help everyone. And my messaging wasn't as clear. And so now I've actually changed into a more virtual coaching pattern and my messaging is a lot clearer. I feel like, so it's now being able to put that out there on my website and just getting it done and concise to what my messaging is and what my product entails.
That sounds very similar. I find a lot of us get to that place. We start out, we put up the website, we've got all these things happening, and then we niche down, we find out who we really love to work with. And then you want to really get clear on what your website says, speaking to them, and then driving them to take that action, whatever that action is you want them to take. And it looks like you may have changed your process and how you work with people a little bit along the way.
Yeah.
So aligning everything on the website.
A lot of fine tuning.
Yeah, fine tuning, but this is good. All right, let me share my screen with you. We've got your website pulled up. And before I get into it, tell me about how your first step in the sales process and then how you are now working with clients.
Okay. So my first step is a wellness clarity, like a wellness clarity call, which is what I consider getting to know if we're a right fit for each other. If what they're looking for is something that I could provide, and kind of getting that background of what's happening with them, and sometimes just a little like first tick, and then moving forward to the next step, which would be the initial consult, getting all the information about their health history, and moving forward with that. So it's more of a clarity of what I do, how I can work with them, and if that's something that they're looking for to move forward.
Okay, that's perfect. So your first step is essentially like a sales call, your wellness clarity call.
Yes.
And then you said you work with people only virtually right now. Do you have a Do you have different packages? Do you make it custom based on what they need?
Yes. Yes. I was in person and virtual, and I have since recently just changed to all virtual. So that all in person session on there that you see is incorrect and needs a modification. Um, and so the nutrition response testing and quantum nutrition testing, that's what I utilize as far as that's part of the process. And I do have packages of coaching times. So a lot of those services get to change as well. So this is definitely like something that I get to move forward and change. So the nutrition response testing would be the in person, but the quantum is what I do on this on the virtual part of it. Um, so that's more based on individualized supplements and labs that they may need or require. So I do the testing virtually for that. Um, and it has to do with like quantum physics, and it's a little bit confusing for people to understand at times, but I kind of do that on the side of the coaching. So a lot of the things now it's more of let's just get to the root cause and see how we get to figure out what is happening and get you some answers.
Would you say then that everything really falls under the umbrella of coaching and then you do this testing as part of the coaching process?
Yes.
Okay. And and do you still do the infrared sauna or the full body detox?
No, because that's in person, so I'm no longer doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes a lot of sense. And for everyone who's listening, under Melissa's services, it had nutrition response testing, quantum nutrition testing, ionic full body detox, and infrared sauna therapy. What I'm hearing from her is that her services have changed a little bit because it's virtual, but it's all under the umbrella of coaching. That's how you work with people. And when we think about our website, we're thinking about it as someone who doesn't know anything about what you do and how you help them. And when someone comes to your website and under services sees these words that are, I'm not sure what they all mean. I know you do, they're your specialties. But what you're really doing is you're coaching and you're using these methods as you work with that person. I think that for you, having a under services, just having a singular services page that talks about your coaching. I noticed under the about, you have how it works. And I would assume that this probably applies to how you're working with the coaching process in virtually. Is that correct?
A little bit. I mean, there are some tweaks that get to be made from that, but basically, because it might not just be a 12-week program, because we're doing more like depending on what is going on with people. I have found that 4 months to 9 months could be a typical time frame, depending on how long they've been going through what they're going through. And that is something that we also discuss on what I find is beneficial for them. And it's really individualized to what they need versus just a kind of everyday same program for everyone.
Mhm. I like what you just said. It's personalized.
Yeah.
If you were to be able to just have a singular services page and you would remove the how it works page
Mhm.
and write about, I'm sure there's, we all have our signature process, and I'm sure that this is your signature process. If you could come up with that, and I like a 3-step process, just something really simple, and talk about how you work with your clients personally through coaching. And if you want to have a light touch on, I think you said the quantum nutrition testing. If you want to do like a light mention of that on the coaching page, I think that's a fair thing to do. Just give someone an idea of what it might be involved when they work with you in the coaching program, but nothing too in depth. And make it more about how you have your signature process and how you customize it. And the first step is booking that wellness clarity call
Yes.
on the services page. Does that resonate with you for like a services page?
Yeah. That does, because that's something that I get to definitely modify. And then so I do the coaching, and then the step like part of my process is on packages or packages, I guess I will add on specific things that I can do depending on what people are looking for and what they need. So like there's other services, I guess you can say, that I can add on to the whole coaching part of it. Um, so I'm also an emotion code certified practitioner, which has to do with emotions that are tied. But I try and wrap that along with some of my programs because I feel like that is one of the things that also is hindering people in their process of healing. But I can also do it just as a separate service, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Might I ask, your main service would be your coaching. That's what you really want to focus on,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Mm.
I would wrap that in to how you talk about how you do your coaching
Okay.
and not mention it as a standalone service on the services page. Unless you want to do something brief at the bottom. I say that because people get overwhelmed when there are too many options. They may not know what that means. But if you talk about it as being part of your process and understanding that you really want to have coaching clients, that's who you want to be working with, like these ongoing clients. I think that might be a good place to start. You could always add on to the services page, but maybe start simple and see how that feels for a little bit as people start navigating through your website.
Okay.
And of course, on that services page, always mentioning if you do have standard packages, maybe you could give a couple examples. Nothing too detailed. We don't want to talk about the features that you're offering. We really want to talk about the benefits, how you're going to help them for these packages.
Okay.
And potentially a price estimate investment, maybe starting at where clients typically spend, or something just to give people an idea of what it might look like to work with you on an ongoing basis. Just so that when you get on a wellness clarity call with someone, everyone knows where we're starting with, and we make sure that we value everyone's time. Doing that on the services page, creating a really clear services page, removing the how it works from the about drop down, and even removing the FAQ. I bet the FAQ page, you might want to modify or change some of those FAQ questions depending on what services you still offer.
Yeah.
Perhaps creating that as a standalone page in your footer. Or if you're going to have a lot of FAQs like, do you accept insurance? Do you work with children? Maybe this belongs on the services page when people are starting to think if they want to work with you. Think about what questions you're going to answer. And if you feel as though it would help answer some objections when someone's on the services page, add it to that page. If you think it's more for the person who wants a little bit more, but it's not necessary to read them, then create a standalone page and put it in your footer.
Okay.
Doing those things, creating a single services page that leads to the clarity call, having a singular about on the navigation, which just talks about you. And I'm just going to scroll to this page. You have the reviews, you have an about. At the bottom of your page, and of every page, I think you have that book your free wellness clarity session. Perfect. Driving people to the contact page. And then finally going to your home page, it says true nutrition, true results. I am assuming you might be changing the copy for this hero image. Is that correct, to align with what you shared about women and helping them?
Yes.
Okay. I think that changing the landing and that second line, that there's the headline and then the subheadline, putting something in about coaching. Because that's how you're working with them. You're coaching them on this so that they know what kind of services you're providing them. Having that in the second line, and then the learn more would be sending them to the services page to learn about your coaching opportunities. I think that would be a really nice landing so that someone can resonate with how you phrased yourself earlier. Women who are exhausted, struggling, and don't want to just take this pill approach. you offer coaching to assist them, or however, I'm not gifted with words, but you get what I'm saying, to drive them to the services page.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that those changes could help guide someone on a simpler path to taking that next step with you?
Absolutely. I think the word simplifying is what I need and I get to do because it's very I do a lot of things. I wear a lot of hats. And it was when I first started, it was like I wanted to put that all out there. And now I get to just simplify because I can explain those things and do that behind the scenes without necessarily having to overwhelm the audience or the people that I'm looking or that the people that are actually looking for me or are looking for the coaching. So I think simplifying is definitely helpful and understanding how I can do that.
I agree. And you have such a wealth of knowledge. I'm going to quantum nutrition testing. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure you have such a beautiful way to share what that does for your clients. Consider writing a blog post and share all about it so that you are sharing that information out, but it's for someone who is interested in digesting it, or you can even send that information to a potential client, but it doesn't hinder the customer journey when they're on your website getting to that contact page.
Okay.
Along that line, simplification in your top menu, we can remove the home because we know when we click the logo, it takes people home. And then you would have about, services. Perhaps consider condensing recommendations, which I think is your products that you recommend to clients.
Yes.
Consider condensing recommendations and news, which is your blog, into resources and having a drop down. Favorite products or recommendations and news. So up at the top, we're so clean about, services, resources, contact. And if you could, a button. Not all templates allow this, but if you could get that button, free clarity call, book your free wellness, you have it, wellness clarity call up in the right-hand corner, that would be beautiful. And then you would be just sending people to book a call.
Okay.
I think by doing that, you're simplifying the navigation, you're simplifying where we're sending people to, and they'll have a little bit more of an understanding exactly how you can help them with what they're struggling with, and then take the next step for the call.
Yeah, that's helpful. And I do like having the resources for both, like the blog and recommendations.
Yeah, I agree. And I love a good recommendation list, especially if you are getting affiliates for products that you really love. That's something that, and people want to know what you recommend, what you use, and like, and trust. So that's a good page to have as well. So, okay, fantastic. Why don't you, Melissa, give your business a shout out, tell everyone where they can find you online, how they can learn more, and how you can help. The floor
Yeah.
is yours.
Oh, thank you. So my business is New Being Wellness. I am a virtual, so you can reach me at info@newbeingwellness.com or via telephone, which is 978-954-7310. And yeah, so if anyone knows anyone or if they're having any issues, feeling tired, fatigued, not getting any answers or saying that, everything looks normal, but you feel inside that something is definitely not right and hasn't been right for a while, reach out. I'd be glad to assist in any way that I can. And even if we're not a good fit, I can help you with some suggestions and move you on to someone else that may be able to help. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate you chatting with us today.
thank you. Appreciate that.
And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.